Welcome to the HR Kyle podcast, your go-to source for insightful discussions on leadership, job searching, and all things human resources. I'm your host, HR Kyle, and each week we dive deep into topics relevant to professionals seeking to elevate their careers and organizations. Whether you're a seasoned leader, a job seeker navigating the ever-changing landscape of employment, or an enthusiast looking to stay ahead of the curve, this is the podcast for you. Join me as we explore practical strategies, share expert insights, and engage in meaningful conversations that empower you to succeed in today's dynamic workplace. So, adjust your headphones and let's dive in. Welcome back to another edition of the HR Kyle podcast. I'm your host, HR Kyle, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. We've got an exciting and insightful episode lined up for you, especially if you're contemplating a career change or looking to navigate a new professional path. In segment 1, I'll be sharing a comprehensive monologue on working through a career change. We'll cover everything from self-assessment and skills evaluation to financial planning and emotional resilience. Whether you're just starting to think about a shift or already in the thick of it, these tips and strategies will help you make a successful transition. But that's not all. In segment 2, we're joined by a very special guest, Lori, who will be sharing her personal story of making a career change after spending 17 years in one job category and then making a change to something completely different. She's been in a new position now for about 2 years and is enjoying a lot of career success, so she'll have plenty of wisdom to pass along. But before we get to that, we need to get to this, and that's a quick break. But we'll be right back. Greetings, I'm Kyle Smith, and I'm here to offer you a speaking experience that goes beyond the ordinary. With a rich background in leadership, HR, and personal development, I bring a unique blend of expertise and passion to every presentation. Whether it's Leadership Unleashed, well-being at work, or career mastery, I delve into topics that empower individuals and organizations to reach their fullest potential. What sets me apart? Proven expertise, an engaging delivery style, and actionable insights that drive positive change. But here's the kicker. I don't just offer a one-size-fits-all approach. I customize my content to meet the specific needs and goals of your event. So let's elevate your event together. Contact me now to reserve your date and unlock the full potential of your audience and organization. Don't miss out on the opportunity to inspire greatness. Visit hrkyle.com today. Welcome back to the HR Kyle podcast. Again, I'm your host, HR Kyle, and today we're diving into a topic that's both exhilarating and daunting: working through a career change. Whether you're contemplating a shift into a new industry or simply looking to redefine your role within your current field, making a career change is a significant life decision. It requires careful thought, planning, and just a little bit of courage. So let's break down the key considerations to help you navigate this journey successfully. First, let's talk about self-assessment. Before you even start updating your resume or looking at job postings, take a step back and reflect on why you want to make this change. Are you seeking more fulfillment, better work-life balance, or a new challenge? Understanding your motivations will guide your decision-making process and help you stay focused on your goals. This phase is crucial because it provides clarity and direction. For example, if you're in a high-stress corporate job and yearning for a role that allows you to make a social impact, that insight will help you narrow down your options to sectors like nonprofits or social enterprises. Next, evaluate your skills and interests. Identify the transferable skills that you already possess and think about how they apply to the new career you're considering. Maybe you're a project manager looking to move into a marketing role. Your organizational skills, ability to manage timelines, and experience in leading teams are all highly valuable in marketing. Don't underestimate the power of soft skills either. Communication, problem solving, and accountability are crucial in any profession. Take an inventory of your achievements and strengths and consider how they can serve you in a new context. This can be a real confidence builder, reminding yourself that you have a lot to offer even if you're stepping into a different field. Research also is your best friend in this phase. Gather information about the industries or roles that you're interested in. What qualifications are required? What is the job market like? Can you speak with someone already in the field to get firsthand insights? Networking can be incredibly helpful here. Reach out on LinkedIn, attend industry events, or join professional groups to connect with people who can provide valuable advice and possibly open doors for you. Informational interviews can be particularly enlightening. These are low pressure conversations where you can ask about the day to day realities of a job, the skills needed, and the potential career path. This knowledge can help you make informed decisions and tailor your career transition plan. Now, once you have a clearer picture, it's time to bridge the gap between your current skill set and what's required in your new career. This might involve further education, obtaining certifications, or gaining experience through volunteering or part-time work. Online courses and workshops are excellent resources that can provide you with the knowledge and credentials you need. For example, platforms like Coursera, Udemy, and LinkedIn Learning offer a wide range of courses that can help you build specific skills relevant to your new career. Sometimes even small steps like reading industry-related books or following thought leaders on social media can make a big difference in your preparedness. Another important aspect is financial planning. Career changes can sometimes mean a temporary reduction in income, especially if you're starting in a new field at an entry-level position. Assess your financial situation and create a budget that allows for this transition period. Having a financial cushion can alleviate stress and give you the freedom to pursue your new career path without undue pressure. Consider all your expenses and potential earnings carefully. It might be helpful to consult with a financial advisor to ensure you're making sound decisions that won't jeopardize your financial stability. Also, don't forget the emotional and mental aspects of a career change. It can be a roller coaster of emotions from excitement and anticipation to fear and self-doubt. Surround yourself with a support system of family, friends, and mentors who can offer encouragement and guidance. Taking care of your mental health during this time is crucial, so practice self-care and mindfulness to stay balanced. Techniques like meditation, journaling, or even regular exercise can help manage stress and keep you grounded. Remember, it's okay to feel anxious or uncertain. These feelings are part of the process and can actually propel you to prepare and perform better. As you start applying for jobs, tailor your resume and cover letter to highlight the skills and experiences most relevant to your new career. Emphasize your passion for the field and your commitment to making the transition. And prepare for interviews by practicing how you explain your career change story in a positive and compelling way. Focus on your strengths and the unique perspective you bring from your previous experience. Employers are often looking for candidates who can bring fresh ideas and a different approach to the table. And lastly, be patient and persistent. Career changes don't happen overnight, and you may face setbacks along the way. Stay committed to your goal, keep learning, and remain adaptable. Every experience, even the challenging ones, will bring you closer to your new career. Celebrate small victories and learn from any rejections or obstacles. They're all part of the journey and can provide valuable lessons. In conclusion, a career change is a journey of self-discovery and growth. By assessing your motivations, building your skills, doing thorough research, planning financially, and maintaining emotional resilience, you can navigate this transition successfully. Remember, it's never too late to pursue a career that aligns with your passions and your values. So take that leap of faith, stay focused, and believe in your potential. Well, that brings us to the close of segment one of the HR Kyle podcast. But believe me, you don't want to go anywhere because when we come back from this break, we're going to have our guest Lori share her story behind the career change that she's recently made. And she's got some wonderful advice and guidance about the success that she's achieving. But folks, we do need to take a quick break first. But don't go anywhere because we'll be right back.
Are you stuck in a job you hate? Dreaming of a career that excites you? It's time to turn those dreams into reality with Get the Job You Love by Kyle Patrick Smith, also known as HR Kyle. Discover proven strategies to land your dream job, master interviews, and stand out from the crowd. Packed with expert advice and practical tips, Get the Job You Love is your ultimate guide to career success. Available now on Amazon and other online retailers. Don't wait. Start your journey to a fulfilling career today. Get the job you love, because you deserve a job you love.
Welcome back to segment 2 of the HR Kyle podcast. And today's topic is about successfully transitioning careers. Now, our guest tonight is Lori, who, after working several years in one profession, made the decision to pursue a career in an entirely different area. Now, that was a few years ago, and tonight she joins us to share her experience. Lori, welcome to the HR Kyle podcast.
Hi, Kyle. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
Well, it's great having you on, Lori. And start off, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I am Lori, and I would normally say, hi, my name is Lori, and I'm a speech therapist. As of a couple years ago, though, that's not the entire story. I went into speech therapy in college because I was a small town girl. But I was also one of those small town people who was extremely successful in my high school career, knowing that I was going to go into college, and I started out in the pre-med program. However, it turns out that it wasn't just the high school math that I struggled with. I also struggled in college and unfortunately had to drop a trigonometry course, which dropped me out of a couple other courses and left me with a path that was a little hazy. I wasn't sure where I would go at that point. What I ended up doing after a year and a half in college being undeclared was I was speaking with my advisor, and she said, you have got to pick something. You cannot continue to be undeclared after this point. And so after a lot of self-reflection and realizing that I wanted to be in the medical field of some sort, but with very little math, we landed on speech therapy. And I actually loved it. Went through, discovered in my junior year of undergrad that this required a master's degree, so it did change my path a bit. However, I accommodated, as always, and I went through, got my master's degree in speech therapy, and ended up going into the school system. Now, I am one of those people that would never say, I love kids, because it's really not my forte. But one of the scholarships that I received did require me to work in the public school systems for 2 years. 6 months into that particular path, I was offered what we call PRN, like an extra as needed job in the skilled nursing facility realm. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, but I took the job, and turns out that that is where I found a great degree of not just success, but self-fulfillment. I really loved working with the older set of people. It gave me also that opportunity to develop that medical side of things that I really, really, truly enjoyed. Not only did I do that in Illinois where I was living, but then I moved to Indianapolis, so Indiana, did the same thing. Down to Northport, Florida, same thing. And that is where my path took a little bit of a right turn into a different career. And I say right turn because most people say left turn. But it turns out that this is something that's also a really great fit. What I did was I discovered that I had a bit of an aptitude for sales. I wasn't planning on this in any way, but what happened was I realized that speech therapy was a fantastic field back in the early 2000s, which is when I graduated with that master's degree and started in. However, changes in Medicare and companies merging together in the healthcare field took things from being a field where I felt like I could make a true positive change in people's lives to something that was a little bit more revenue driven than what I was hoping for. So after quite a few changes in that medical field, a stagnant personal relationship, an inability to advance, because as much as I loved being a staff speech therapist, I did find myself taking on assistant manager roles. So I decided I should just be the manager. And I applied probably 8 different times for management and got absolutely nowhere. In the medical field, physical and occupational therapists are the 2 fields in therapy that are traditionally chosen to be managerial. And so I got told thank you but no over and over, trying to break into therapy management. And then COVID hit. COVID, however, was hitting right at the same time that I said, I'm going to quit being a full-time speech therapist, and I'm going to try to be a true PRN. I will work for many different companies. I'll work when they need me, and I'll provide my own health care. And then COVID came up from nowhere and really blocked that attempt, because with COVID, I was told, oh, you can really only work in one building because we can't have you traipsing through from here to here with COVID potential. So that really put a damper on what I was attempting to do, which was, to be honest, a way to make a lot more money and not be beholden to any one company. Now, what was the other thing that happened during COVID? Work from home. Everybody started doing this work from home, and I'll tell you what, I sat there extremely envious, not only because I could avoid COVID by working from home, but I could also avoid, hopefully, watching my patients do worse during COVID and not better. And I won't go into all of that, but COVID was a rough time for healthcare professionals in general. And after watching people do a lot of different things, whether that's a career change or work from home, or finding out that they're an amazing artist, they had no idea that that was inside of them, or maybe they found out that they could write a book. All of these things came to light during COVID, and I felt like I was missing out drastically. And so I was offered an opportunity to look into different professions, and I fell into this sales role. So I just do want to point out too, just as an aside, that the day after I took a role in sales, I was finally offered that therapy manager role that I had been angling for 7 years. Now, I was able to say thank you, but no thank you, even though that was terrifying. Like, here's an opportunity to do what I had been trying to do for 8 years. It wasn't the right time, though. I felt like the new path that I found myself on, being offered a sales role, was the way that I should go. It had nothing to do with speech therapy in any form or fashion. But it also felt that cut my salary in half. And that's just a staff speech therapist salary, not a therapy manager salary. That was a tough thing to think about. How do you, with an expert master's degree level job that you've been in for 17 years, step back and say, yes, I would like to start entry level in an area, in a field that I have absolutely no experience with, but yeah, let's do that. But I did that. And it has turned out to be a very interesting ride for the last 2 years.
Lori, thank you for walking us through that story. And I think for this audience, there's a few themes that come through loud and clear. One, a strong willingness to change, especially when the environment around you is telling you you need to. Certainly a great deal of flexibility. And finally, Lori, from your standpoint, a whole heck of a lot of persistence on your part to make a commitment to something several times along the way and really go at it full force. And I think those are definitely some wonderful themes that came out of that story. Now, having gone through this career transition that you described and been at your current role, as you said, for now a couple of years, what has this taught you about yourself?
Sure. So actually, of all the crazy things, June is my 2-year anniversary in my new career. So it's taught me a lot in this last 2 years. I want to highlight, I am obviously, if you're doing the math, have gone through college to the master's degree level, worked in speech therapy for, at this point, I believe it's 18 years. And I will say this, 40 has got to be the new 20. Because at the age of 40 years old, I did a complete 180 into a different career. I will say this, many of my colleagues have said, oh my gosh, how did you do this? What did you do to prepare for this? And the answer is, well, a lot, but yet at the same time, nothing, because this was not where I saw myself even 2 years ago, even though I stepped into a new SaaS sales role. I did start at that bottom level, and I didn't actually know that this was going to pan out. And so what I will say is it does. I've moved from entry level into an actual account management role, and it has been far more intriguing and engaging and successful than I would have ever thought that it could be. And so a couple things I can say, though, about what has it taught myself. You can ask a million stupid questions, but you can only ask them once. I have found out very concisely that my managers are often blown away by the things that come out of my mouth because I do not have a background in sales or technology or software. And you would think that I would have some experience in these areas to take on this role, but I do not. So I will quite often ask a question that is extremely elementary and is a little bit maybe confusing for my particular managers as to why would I ask that, but they will always answer it. However, they're not going to answer that same thing twice. And I have found that out because the second time around, I am always told, you know this, do your homework, and either remember it or figure it out. But all that does is teach me to be even more independent than I was in the therapy role. And another thing that it's taught me is, even though I feel most days that my job is very secure, I will never let my medical certifications lapse. At least not for 3 years. I challenge myself that you will keep up everything for the speech therapy role for 3 years. At the end of that point, if you are not very happy, confident, feel yourself approaching expert level, and having met or exceeded your prior income, then Lori, you will have to go back to the speech therapy role and either stick with that or make a new plan. And I also want to make sure that people realize that this is never it. Where I'm at today, I do not believe is where I will be at in the next 5 years. I don't ever think that the end of my story has come. When I am older and someone says, well, what did you do, for a career? I don't want to be able to say only one thing or even two things. I want to list off 5, 6. So I don't ever think that this is the end of my career or this is the last role that I will have. And I want everyone to realize that just because today you are sitting here doing this one job does not mean that you'll be sitting in this same space doing the same thing in 5 years.
I love it, Lori, and certainly you're the epitome of the fact that there really is no age limit to job change. And the other thing that comes through loud and clear is a high level of just fearlessness on your part. And I'll also say, and this is really an understatement, no fear of failure, but I don't even think it's a lack of fear of failure. You don't even consider that as an option because you always have a backup plan and you know that somehow, some way that you're going to make it through.
I do, but on that same note, I will just interject this. I was an entry-level business development representative for, I believe it was about 16 months. And I was able to transition during the last 4 months of that into the account manager role, account executive. However, 2 months into that, so just in February, 4 months ago, I was doing very poorly. It was a hard transition. I thought it would be easier. And I was actually approached by my manager and the vice president of sales with an offer to step back down into my former role. And it was kind of a time sensitive thing of, in the next 2 weeks, you need to decide, Lori, whether you would like to do that, because after 2 weeks, it will not be something that we can allow. You would be put on a performance improvement plan if you do not bring your current quotas up to a level that is acceptable for the company. So it hasn't always been easy, and that failure has very much been staring me in the face more than once.
I hear you, and thanks for sharing that too, Lori. Well, one of the biggest hurdles that career changers have to get over, and I talk with many of them, is this idea of having hiring managers see them as capable of something different than their prior role. How were you able to accomplish that?
I won't say that it was the easiest thing. Let's say that it was a 67% success rate. And I say that because when I interviewed for this role, I was interviewed over the course of 3 different interviews. The first interview, I passed with flying colors, and that was with the recruiter. She was able to very easily see how I could do the role of at least the business development representative very successfully. So then I passed to the next level. And at that time, that was with the business development representative manager. And you know what? I failed that one. I didn't know it at the time, but I was not apparently impressive to him as an entry-level BDR. However, that's, I'm at 50%, so I went on to the next level, which was the vice president of sales. And he was able to see the value that I could bring, because I think it's this. As a speech therapist, you have to understand, I would walk into people's rooms in the hospitals and the nursing homes. These are sick patients. They might be older. They might have, whether it's age onset dementia or maybe medication mismanagement dementia, maybe post-surgery dementia, what have you. I'd walk in and go, "Hi, I'm Lori. I'm your speech therapist." And the first words out of their mouth were, "I talk fine. I don't need a speech therapist." And that is a hard thing, because everybody thinks that a speech therapist only works on speech, when in reality, we do much, much more. And a lot of that falls under cognition or swallowing deficits. So when we're seeing those things, we are stepping in. But the general public does not realize that that's part of our job. So I had to sell myself on the spot to someone who might be sick. They might be confused. Their families might be already in the room, upset about, whether it's medical care or therapy didn't come as soon as they thought. I'm selling myself, and I'm only there to sell myself, and nobody's backing me up. In my current role, the lovely thing is I'm selling a product, and that product has an entire developer team that is constantly making improvements. So I think that when I was doing my interviews, the people who were working with me and they were sitting there asking me these questions, they were realizing that not only can I sell myself, which is the hardest product truly to sell, but if I can do that, I can sell anything. And I think too that just leaning into the skills that I learned and grew and developed over the course of years, which were in the medical field, working one-on-one with patients, active listening, generating solutions and problem solving, along with the fact that I am not one to sugarcoat. I never have. I try to give things gently, but I do not give things with any amount of white lie even. And I'm also a bit of a quirky person. And I think when you really put all of that into play as a medical professional, you're definitely going to bring that to the table too in any other role, and in this case, sales. And it's really strange to find a salesperson who is honest. So I am definitely an anomaly there, and then add a little bit of my particular brand of humor. I think I catch people's attention, and that is a big deal when you are trying to career switch. You can't just be what someone expects you to be and what the job states in the job description that they want. They're going to get a million applicants who meet those, especially those requirements from someone who's done it for years and years and years, and they've already been in that role. They're already the expert. And here you are stepping in. You have to bring something else to the table to catch the attention of those hiring managers and beyond, and really sell yourself in that role. And I think that is where I found the success to get my foot in the door and then to make the progress and climb the ladder.
Amen to that. I would absolutely agree with what you're saying 100%, and that's fantastic advice. Now, Lori, in the last 30 seconds or so that we have left, what's some final advice that you would give to someone who knows they need to make a career change, where you were a couple of years ago, but they're scared of the possible risk?
Sure, absolutely. I think it's extremely important to know yourself. If you are a person who has spent your life stepping up to challenges, accepting change, and really being able to adjust, pivot, and work with things that come maybe not the easiest, but for myself, moving to different locations, working in different environments, if you're able to do that, you're going to be great as a career changer. However, if you really do resist change and it's tough and it really messes with your emotions, it may not be for you. So just know who you are and the amount of change that you can handle before trying. Also, to go along with that, I want to say regarding asking questions, don't ever apologize for not knowing something. You will never know something if you don't delve into it and ask those questions. And then finally, I would say make that master plan.
Lori, wonderful advice, and you've certainly made that career change successfully, and I really want to thank you so much for sharing with this audience tonight your lessons and the experiences that you've gone through over the last couple of years.
Absolutely, and I thank you all so much for listening. I hope that the information I provided is something that you can implement into your own career search. And definitely always follow HR Kyle on Facebook and his podcast because he gives amazing advice.
Lori, thank you so very much. And folks, that wraps up this episode, and we're certainly thankful you joined us today. Be sure that you do, as Lori said, like and follow the HR Kyle podcast on your favorite podcasting platform. But remember, until next time, be sure to stay focused, stay grounded, and of course, stay tuned. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the HR Kyle podcast. We hope you found our discussion valuable and filled with insights that you can apply in your professional journey. Whether you're a business leader aiming to foster a thriving workplace or a job seeker looking to carve out your own path, remember that HR Kyle is the compass that can guide you towards success. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share it with your network. We're committed to being your trusted source for HR wisdom, and we look forward to having you back with us for our next episode. Remember, in the world of HR and professional growth, there's always room for progress. Be sure to visit our website at hrkyle.com. That's hrkyle.com to learn more about how we can help you meet your business and professional goals. So until next time, this is HR Kyle signing off. Stay motivated, stay informed, and keep reaching for those career goals. Music provided by bensound.com. That's bensound.com.